Good morning, good afternoon, and especially right now, good night to everyone listening, watching live or on demand. Welcome in Makeshift Managers Podcast. We're usually not on during this time, but it's Valentine's Day tomorrow. We each want to spend time with our significant other, and we are going to get this Super Bowl recap in. We just finished watching the game just like everyone else. So, um, Devin, how you feeling?
Wow. That's all I have to say personally. Like obviously we're gonna bloviate and get into the details, but Austin did mention Valentine's Day, pointing that way instead of this way. But doesn't matter which way you're pointing. Valentine's Day is a holiday loved by all, and if you don't like it, do we have a deal for you? Um Manscaped, they are a proud partner of our podcast. So we'd like to take a moment to talk to you guys about the performance package and a myriad of other products that Manscaped does offer through their website. So Valentine's Day is coming up. You know, roses are red, violets are blue. Don't let a wild pube wreck you. Am I right, Austin?
Hey, man.
Valentine's Day is
Wild pubes are
literally less than 12 hours away. And our sponsors at Manscaped are here for you with the best tools to get your balls ready for the special occasion. And so this V-Day, it's time to join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped, the leaders in below the waist grooming, with our exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com and use code TMSM for 20% off and free worldwide shipping. And if you listen to the show before, you do understand that we love these products. The Lawnmower 4.0 is a tremendous trimmer. I've had no issues while using it. I gush about the wireless charging. The Weed Whacker keeps me nice and prim and proper in the nose hairs. And the Crop Preserver and the Crop Reviver. There are so many products that you yourself can get for a significant other or yourself come this loving season. And if you're like, I don't need trimming products, that's fine. They carry lip balm. They got body wash. If it pertains to any part of your body, odds are they have something to help you. So once again, thank you to our friends over at Manscaped for sponsoring the podcast. And don't forget to use code TMSM for 20% off and free shipping worldwide. Back to the action.
boom. Let's get into it. The team who has won the coin toss has lost 7 in a row, so it was only easy to pick the Rams once they lost the coin toss.
Did we fact check that? I saw it in a TikTok before I texted that to you, so I didn't check the validity of that statement.
I saw it on the. It was on the.
Cool.
On
so
the
that
TV.
was actually on the TV. Thank God. I was like, damn.
It was on the. It was on the talking box that I was looking at.
It was on the big communication machine in my living room.
Yeah, so obviously determining the flip of a coin in the very beginning of the game determines the winner. It's as easy as that. It's just like overtime, right?
Change the rules. Eliminate the coin. Rules. The coin won the game. What are we talking about? They should just
I guess I'll kick.
Just give me like Trey Hendrickson and Aaron Donald arm wrestling to see who gets the ball first.
The Rams called, I believe the Bengals were the visiting team, if I remember right. So the Bengals called heads. They got heads. They deferred. Easy as that. We kick off. First drive for the Rams. Not so great.
It was. I haven't had the opportunity to watch Super Bowl like live in the last 3 years, give or take. Man, I have not. I'm not a fan of either of these teams, and I was sitting there on the edge of my seat the entire game. And yeah, that first drive for the Rams, it was a very just unmonumental first 2 drives. It was kind of just everybody warming up, it felt like.
Yeah, it really did. The game started off really slow. It was kind of interesting how a lot of people were kind of in the weird spot of like, is this going to be a high-scoring game or is it going to be a low-scoring game? The Rams have a great defense. The Bengals defense has stepped up. But you got Joe Burrow, you got Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham, and you got the whole trio out in Cincinnati.
Yep.
So it was really kind of hard to tell from the get-go where we were going to kind of be at. We'll just talk about the Rams run game. Completely non-existent.
Dude.
You have Cam Akers, 13 carries for 21 yards. Darrell Henderson, 4 carries for 7. Cooper Kupp, we'll get to him a bit later. He had a big run. Stafford, 3 for 6. Run. Michelle, 2 for 2. Yikes. From the get-go, it did not get going. It never got going, and that's kind of a big thing in the NFL is you kind of need a run game to establish kind of where you're going to be in a game, how you kind of want to determine the pace of a game. They got Sony Michel to kind of have that big back, even though they went to Cam Akers for most of the postseason, despite his fumbles in Tampa Bay. I didn't like it too much. I really was hoping they'd use Sony Michel more. I get Cam Akers. I like Cam Akers, but he tore his Achilles 6 months. Excuse me.
No,
Good
there we
Lord.
go. There we go.
It's all the food
almost
coming back.
almost getting injured on the podcast, I see. No, I totally agree with you. Because the thing is, for all the flack I want to give the Rams rushing attack for their performance in this game, Cam Akers ruptured his Achilles less than a calendar year ago. Like, the fact that he was on the field in general is impressive in and of itself. And while he did
Yeah.
not average more than 2 yards a carry, him being out there, I feel helped. I feel like him making it to the playoffs and playing in this playoff run helped the spirits of this team, especially after losing dudes like a Robert Woods and a few other players throughout the season. The running game was really bad. I knew Joe Mixon was going to be a plus for the Bengals compared to what the Rams had. But yeah, I was surprised that they just kind of ditched Sony Michel. I understand it. They're not going to move forward with him at all. He's going to be gone due to free agency. Darrell Henderson is going to be the 2 next year alongside a Cam Akers type, or they might even flop roles. Who knows? But this game was insanity to say the least. It was a very hard fought game. The refs kept the laundry in their pants for most of the night, which, to be fair, made me a little anxious and angry at times because there were some calls that were blatantly missed. But that's been the story of this entire NFL
Yeah,
season.
we get in this weird spot of the Super Bowl was a really let them play type of game.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be fair, the refs can't win either way. If they're calling a bunch of penalties because they're there,
Yeah.
one fan base is going to be angry about it. If they're not calling penalties, people are going to be angry about it. I think
Yeah.
overall they did okay.
Yeah.
We'll get to the second half of where it kind of came all to, but in the first half there wasn't a whole lot. Couple false starts here and there, nothing too bad. Bengals' first drive of the game was a 4-and-out.
Yeah, Zach. I
Fourth and
said it
1 on the LA 49. I don't like it.
that I know that single play call didn't cost them the game, but looking back on what the Rams do, their second drive, getting the ball in that position, it optically looks terrible for Zach Taylor. Like, my biggest thing going into this game, regardless of how hot the Bengals were, regardless of what the Rams had done previously, I'm a big believer in coaching in football. You have massive rosters in the NFL, and coaching discrepancies matter. The last time Sean McVay was in the big game, he sadly was up against the greatest coach of all time in terms of modern NFL, and it showed. And while Taylor did his best Bill Belichick impression at times, trying to beat out Sean McVay, coaching matters. And
Yeah.
even though Zach Taylor had all of his weapons for this entire game, and Sean McVay was down to Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson being held every route, and some white guy number 18 that I cannot pronounce his last name, so I apologize to his family. Skronik, yes. It was tragic watching that for the Rams, but McVay pulled it out. And I'm not going to give McVay all the credit because this Rams defense performed in a way that I expected them to, but in an outcome that I honestly would not have looked to their defense to pull it through, essentially. They
Yeah,
had to
I
do
know.
so much tonight.
Yeah, I know that the Bengals have kind of been able to trust their defense for the most part, but I just can't give Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and still at the time Odell Beckham the 49-yard line. I just can't. They're a good football team. They're going to figure it out one way or another. You had a good first drive. Pin them in their zone. I understand you want to be aggressive early, but getting down early is how you suffer. You had down by 18 against the Chiefs and you miraculously came back. There's no need to put yourself in that position again. And that's how it looked kind of early. They went down 7-0 after Stafford threw the ball to Odell for a touchdown. And we were kind of like, oh no, here we go again. We thought, I was getting ready for a blowout, to be honest. The Bengals make good adjustments. There we go. But to kind of just give them the ball that early, that on their side of the field, it feels wrong to me. I didn't like it.
Yeah,
obviously, and for it to be a pass play, I know they have a great receiving core, and we kind of watched it as P. Ryan moved out, the guy covering him moved in and kind of got the ball right to him, just right spot, right time.
Yeah,
I don't even know if Jamar Chase is catching that ball because he was covered really well.
Yeah,
It it's a little too aggressive for my blood in
Yeah.
the Super Bowl. So we kind of go down. LA scores 7-0. You have a punt. You have another punt by LA. Then you have a field goal by the Bengals. So you got 7-3. And then Cooper Kupp shows up. Odell got a big 35-yard catch on Eli Apple. We're going to say that a lot today. Eli Apple did not have a good game. Neither did Jalen Ramsey, but they did pick on Eli Apple for a reason.
I do have a side point. One of my sources actually messaged me while we're streaming. The Rams were technically the visiting team in the Super Bowl, so they lost the coin toss.
Tails
So
never fails. Let me tell you.
they called it and they lost. So yeah, damn. So amending our previous statement, but still, yeah. Back to what you were saying, Austin. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, so you're good. So go up 14-3. Then you get the Joe Mixon touchdown to T. Higgins. That was a cool play.
Honestly,
I like that a lot.
The ghost of Harambe. I saw somebody Photoshop Harambe, the gorilla, in the background of Mixon throwing the pass. Every time the Bengals had a big play, it was like 10 seconds later, there was the Photoshop of Harambe behind the player making the play. Like there's one of T. Higgins and Jalen Ramsey flying out of frame. It's like, dude, if they do this for Harambe, I'm never going to hear the end of it.
Hey, internet's wild, man. They'll have you just like that every
Internet's
time.
Undefeated, 100%.
The Detroit Matthew Stafford comes out. He throws a pick, mainly off. It was an arm punt, I would say in the end. Just a big old arm punt to Van Jefferson. I believe this is the drive where Odell goes down. Non-contact injury.
Yeah.
It was kind of something that if the Bengals had won the Super Bowl, this is kind of something we'd be honing in on big time. We're going to hone in on it regardless because Eli Apple was very confident he could cover Odell. It has been determined that was a lie.
Our sources have told us that was not true. The funniest part for me was everybody on Twitter, as soon as the Bengals made the Super Bowl, they're like, there were just memes of like Eli Apple having to guard Cooper Kupp in 2 weeks, just like him sweating. Like it's just, it was inevitable. My biggest thing about this game, especially post Odell going down, was because he went down like mid first half or like a little bit later in the first half. It wasn't.
I believe it's this drive where he throws the interception. The interception, the arm punt is where Odell goes down non-contact.
All things considered, Matthew Stafford had 2 picks in the Super Bowl. I'm not going to credit him with either of those. The Bates one, yeah, it counts because he threw it and the dude picked it off. But the second one off of 18's hands, that's you can't do anything as the quarterback.
It was a little bit of a throw, a little too far out for Skronik, but if you get your hands on it, you got to be able to either bring it in or get it down.
If Odell's out there, he makes the catch. But that's just, apples to oranges. But yeah,
Eli Apple
doesn't fall too far.
Like 40 people turned us off right now.
And then after the play with the Joe Mixon touchdown to T. Higgins, Vernon Hargreaves cost the Bengals 15 yards on the following kickoff because he stormed the field in street clothes. I don't know how you fix that. I think that's a coaching thing. You got to be sure of who is on the sidelines and make them understand what has to happen.
It's such a weird thing too, right?
There's a lot of weird stuff going on. There was that one sequence whenever Joe Burrow scrambled out of bounds. I think it was right before halftime or it was a little after halftime, and Aaron Donald just shoved him. Because, if you're going to be scrambling outside of the pocket, you're bound to get hit unless you're going out of bounds. And he didn't establish he was going for the out of bounds, and Donald just said, okay, go down. And then he ends up getting popped in the face. Yeah, and he ends up getting popped in the face by a lineman. No flags are being thrown. The game got really chippy to a certain extent. And I think
100%.
The flag started to fly because the refs let it go a bit too far, genuinely. Because we're going to hear complaints about, well, they didn't call that earlier in the game. They had to. With how the game was going and how
you're in the trenches all game, and when you beat up the quarterback like that, like guys are going to come defend like that. It was a completely fine push by Aaron Donald. Joe Burrow was inbounds; he wasn't sliding. It was a completely fine push, and I get the lineman trying to defend their dude, but you're going to get choked out by Aaron Donald, so you might want to leave.
Donald didn't try to choke anybody out today. That was like That was one of my guarantees. I was like, Aaron Donald over under 1.5 people, choking them out. He showed extreme restraint in this game. The story of this game will be the final 5 minutes, essentially. This Rams defense, because I was talking to my father, who's a big Rams fan, during the game after OBJ went out. I'm like, this game's gonna turn into that whole Broncos Panthers Super Bowl,
Well,
where
because here's the thing: you have Cooper Cup, you have Odell Beckham. At the time, you've lost Higbee, who is huge in that passing game. I liked Higbee all year
oh
long.
yeah, Higbee's been a
Um,
huge target for that
who's the
Stafford
guy they
connection.
threw to?
Kendall
Um,
Blanton,
Bryson Hopkins. That dude came up clutch
he
a
was
couple
their
times.
third
Four
string tight end, and I think
four for
Blanton got knocked out.
47. My dude. Hmm?
Didn't Blanton get knocked out of the game too? He ended up getting hurt. Like the Rams were down to like their second, third,
Yeah.
fourth string type dudes for like the entire second half.
Yeah.
And it was so frustrating having to watch Matthew Stafford try and basically polish a turd with the weapons that he had, essentially,
Yeah.
like for lack of better words. If Stafford were to have gone down and lost this game and McVay were to lose this Super Bowl, I don't like I get it. They would have lost the game, and we're talking in hypotheticals, but that is just so hard to like argue against anything else because if everything goes in a perfect world, nobody gets hurt, everybody stays healthy for the game, I think the Rams win by 20. Personally, the way that they were
Well,
playing.
another thing too is I feel like this is one of the most well played, enjoyable, and not a whole lot of controversy going on Super Bowls. The Rams won 23-20, flat out, fair and square. You maybe some arguments on the last drive of Cooper Cup we'll get to, but it was a clean game for the most part. You can get to the Higgins thing, but seeing Odell go out, we kind of knew he was going to be out. A knee injury, you usually don't come back from that in the middle of the game. I know Odell wants to go out there and play, but he tore his ACL on that same leg. I don't. He wasn't coming back, and that was huge
Mhm.
for the Rams. They weren't running the ball well, and they basically had Cooper Cup left.
Yeah.
Even, like here, like you can see, I'm looking at it right now. Odell was 2 for 52 and a touchdown. He's the second leading receiver, and he didn't play 3 quarters for the most part. Like he
Yeah.
is,
Oh,
he is that offense next to Cooper Cup.
my biggest argument for a Rams win in this Super Bowl was the fact that I didn't think Chidobe Awuzie and Eli Apple could cover both of them. They were going to have Jesse
It's true.
Bates flying around the field trying to stop both of those dudes because in single coverage, Cooper Cup destroys the best corners in football, the best
Yeah,
linebackers in football. Cooper Cup is the best wide receiver on the planet right now in terms of if you need 10 yards, he is going to get it for you.
he's a great
And
route runner. It's nuts.
I've been contrarian against Cooper Cup. I've been like, he's not better than Devontae Adams. It doesn't matter if he's a better player traits wise. The impact he has had on the Rams this season, it's arguably the most dominant season a receiver has ever had. You take Cooper Cup off of the Rams, they arguably miss the playoffs because if Robert Woods also goes down, they're not making the playoffs, let alone beating Tampa in Tampa, exercising the demons against the Niners, and then finishing
Hmm.
off this game.
Yep.
And people are going to complain and moan about the final drive for the Rams and all of the yellow that was on the field. Cooper Cup was being mugged every snap
Yeah, it
that
was.
final drive.
I mean,
Cooper Cup,
he had, yeah. They had to do
for
their best to keep him down.
as skilled as he is, he's arguably one of the toughest receivers I've ever seen. The shot he took in the end zone on that the dead play, I thought he was
Yeah,
dead. I thought he was
same.
concussed. I was like, holy shit, did they just knock Cooper Cup out of the game? And there was like
Yeah,
5 different moments in this game where I was like, oh God, are they done? Stafford's ankle, Burrow's knee. Sadly,
yeah,
Odell's knee was done for the game. Like this game was as high stakes as it got. Like you could feel the tension. Like both of these teams were not going to take no for an answer. And it
yeah.
was just insane.
So after the arm punt, you have a couple punts. You have the end of the half. You go into it
Mhm.
14-10. No, 13-10. They missed the
13-10, yeah.
they
Hecker,
missed the point after.
yeah, he muffed the extra point hold.
Halftime show. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar. What were your thoughts?
I loved it personally. The thing was, I was talking with my fiance before like Super Bowl started, and I was trying to map out in my head how it was gonna go, and I was like, perfect set list. You start off with Snoop and Dre, like G thing, and then you just kind of usher in everybody else, and it's this whole thing, and then ending it with still Dre was just brilliant. I thought everybody performed extremely well. I made a joke to my buddy Trent. I probably sent it to you too. I was talking about how like Eminem playing "Lose Yourself" is gonna like unlock something in Joe Burrow at halftime. I saw a tweet where someone's like, Matthew Stafford heard Eminem and forgot that he wasn't in Detroit. Like, dude, Twitter took over. But no, it was a great halftime show. It was everything that I expected it to be, and it was the best bang for your buck in a Super Bowl halftime that we've had in a while.
To me, it was a halftime show that there wasn't a whole lot of pizzazz because there didn't need to be. It was just
It's all
straightforward.
substance.
And even 50 Cent was in there. 50 Cent
I was
also
so
50
surprised.
50 Cent. You have eaten. You looking like a whole dollar now. Like,
Gee,
good Lord, man.
That
my
man.
My man looks a little bigger.
He ain't rocking with 2 quarters no more. No, 50 Cent. That was the biggest surprise for me because they finished off the first Snoop and Dre set, and I was like, okay, cool. Then I just saw him hanging upside down. I'm like, no shit. I was like, that's so cool.
But
like,
yeah, it was very straightforward of kind of people our age and people older than me. I'm 28, and there's people older than me who kind of grew up on this stuff. I kind of like that music for the most part. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, all that. There didn't need to be a whole lot of pizzazz. It was a lot of straightforward music, really good music that we all kind of enjoyed as kids and kind of brought a lot of nostalgia back.
Well, the big thing for me is it was a halftime show that was honestly the talent was almost curated for the event and the venue itself. Like Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Kendrick Lamar, LA legends. These are like masters of their craft. They are huge in the Southern California like culture. And then Mary J. cooked. Eminem, he's one of the biggest artists in rap ever, regardless of how you feel about his music or if you like it or not. It's just an indisputable fact. It was just satisfying. Like, it was cool just seeing all of them and intertwining it. And then at the very end on the stage, like, and especially even after Dr. Dre's health scares over the last like 4 or 5 years, like, it was just a really, really cool moment to see all of them up there like that.
Yeah. All right, so we'll move on to the second half. First drive of the game, first play of the game. T. Higgins, 75-yard touchdown.
The dark ages for Sean McVay. That dude, I don't know what was going through his head, but that was probably the worst 90 seconds of his entire life.
Wasn't it?
Like, you come out of halftime like, we're up by 3. You know, we could be up by more. Odell is literally, his knee is not working. Matthew, what are we gonna do? First play, Joe Burrow says, "Hey, T. Higgins, I did not realize how big of a man T. Higgins is. T. Higgins is massive. He got a lot of face mask on that touchdown play. I was surprised they didn't throw the flag. Jalen Ramsey's a superstar, and superstars tend to get calls. They didn't make the call. My initial reaction was like, damn, T. Higgins is a bad man. I saw the replay. I'm like, damn, T. Higgins is a very fortunate man.
Yeah, out of position referee pulled Ramsey down. It is what it is. It's a tough call that was missed in the moment. But a big play by T. Higgins. T. Higgins went 4 receptions for 100 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Robbed of Super Bowl MVP. Like, that man, if Stafford doesn't figure it out that final drive, T. Higgins, like Cooper Kupp had a good day, but T. Higgins had a better day by amount of yardage. They had the same amount of touchdowns. Kupp had a lot more receptions, actually. Cooper Kupp is a target hog. He had he had 2 touches going into the fourth quarter or something like that. It was insane. After Odell goes down, I think you give Cooper Kupp 50 targets. That was the biggest thing for me. It was like they gave Cam Akers every first down carry for what felt like an eternity. That second half was like watching paint dry. I was like, they're just hammering a nail, but instead of using a hammer, they're using a goddamn pool noodle. Like, what are we doing out here?
So then the next drive, one play later, off Skoranik's hands, intercepted by Chidobe Awuzie, the end of Sean McVay's worst 90 seconds of his life. This is where the hype train came back.
Who dey?
You know, a lot of people bet on the Bengals to win the Super Bowl. The hype train has been going the whole time. And it was, what's the word I'm looking for? Justified. The Bengals are a good team. They played well throughout the playoffs. They were coming in with a lot of hype. They have a good quarterback. Their defense has stepped up more than ever. I'm not going to say that everyone, was wrong because the Bengals lost. They still played a really good game. Their defense played a really good game. And this interception kind of put it in like, oh shit, the
Yeah,
Bengals are going to do this, aren't they?
the
Kind of
moment
that was the moment I had.
the momentum shifted whenever OBJ went down with the knee. The
Mm,
game flipped on its head. And that's the biggest thing. There was the
hmm
Rams, it was almost like a stale. So the Rams had momentum going into the half. They had the lead. They were at home. They were trying to figure out whatever their offense was going to be without OBJ in the locker room. I didn't think they were like without a paddle. First play, T. Higgins goes off for that touchdown. We have a shift. That is a shift in momentum. The interception happens. I go, oh shit. This game
hmm
has flipped on its head because at that point, what was the score? It was 17-13, right? They
17,
get the
13, yeah.
interception and they hold them to a field goal, right?
hmm
Because I messaged somebody. There was a whole just stream of messages going through my phone because I just stayed at home for the Super Bowl, had the spread out, just
Same.
kind of relaxed, had a
Yep.
couple beers, had a good day. But I had all my text threads going. I'm like, if the Bengals score here, it's game over. Like, there's no, I didn't see any way of them. If they come back with 7, how do the Rams answer that?
Yeah.
That's just insurmountable. And by the grace of Aaron Donald and the football gods, they held the Bengals to an
Yeah.
Evan McPherson field
Huge
goal.
sack by Aaron Donald on 3rd and 3. Puts him back for a field goal. The Rams match with a field goal. We're at 20-13. Then you have 6, 7 straight punts that go into
Mm-hmm.
the fourth quarter. Then we get to basically the last drive for the Rams of the game. They're kind of pushing down. They start on their own 21, move down 72 yards. You have a pass to Hopkins. We talked about Hopkins a little bit. This dude stepped up big time. Honestly, it's the game of his life. 4
Yep.
receptions for 47 yards in the Super Bowl. That's all you can do as a tight end sometimes.
That's one of the craziest things to me in terms of the grand scheme of this season. Um, Looking at both of these teams, construction wise, they look similar in terms of where their talent is situated
Mm-hmm.
at. Like, obviously, the Rams have an insane defensive line, but the Bengals' strength is to their defensive line. And the Rams have Jalen Ramsey, but their secondary isn't like groundbreaking, world beating. Same with Cincy. They match up extremely well against each other because they're essentially the same team with Rams having more veterans and just better guys sprinkled throughout. But
The
my
Rams
thing
more
was,
being of a assembly type of team, and the Bengals being more of a developing type of team.
yeah, the Bengals are younger and they've been grown organically through the draft, free agency. The Rams were just, we've got Donald, we've got Jalen Ramsey, ship off
Yeah.
Goff. We have the receivers. Let's just add to the defense. Odell Beckham's available. Give me him. They were
Yep.
this patchwork team. The Bengals were the team of destiny. The Rams were the team that destiny can't stop, essentially, based upon constructions. And what I didn't expect from the Rams, especially going into the postseason, was just how damn resilient this team is.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing that we lost in the whole Bengals hoopla and chaos of the postseason was just how much we learned about the Rams and Sean McVay. Because Sean McVay led teams prior to this season with Jared Goff under the helm. They were good whenever they were leading, but whenever it came to facing adversity, they had never gotten over the hump. And so with Stafford, we open this new era, and it all starts against Arizona. They throttled these dudes. And I'm like, I didn't think Arizona was that good. I felt they were suspect. And
I didn't
so
expect
we
him to
beat
get
Arizona
throttled though.
100%. I thought it was going to be a closer game. Going to Tampa Bay, punch them in the mouth. Tampa comes back. What do the Rams do? Make the plays and win the game. And
And secure it.
everyone's
Yep.
like, the Rams should have lost. The Rams should have lost. The Rams were resilient and they persevered. Then we go to the NFC Championship game. This game could have just literally fallen apart for the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
Jaquiski Tart is to be thanked for this Rams Super Bowl due to that dropped interception. Yes, it plays a major factor, but they were down
Yeah.
most of that second half and they gutted it out. They figured
Yep.
out how to win. And I'm not going to take anything away from this Bengals team, but I've been saying it since this whole run started. I feel the Bengals are arguably the most fortunate Super Bowl contender we've had in half a decade. And it's nothing against them. But if you look how everything shaked up in the AFC, their seeding, who they played, how the teams they played, the Bengals caught a lot of breaks. And
Mm-hmm.
point blank and period, they were the healthiest contender of any team in the NFL. And that was the scariest part for me because I was sitting there and I was like, in a season where everything was so batshit crazy, I was expecting some normalcy from this game. And it disappointed me in that fact because I was like,
Yeah.
hopefully we can just get a game where two teams can operate at full strength and we get a clear winner. The better team won, in my opinion, but it took a hell of a lot from them to get that to
Well,
happen.
yeah, it takes it. So you have a 3rd-and-1 play, a run with Cam Akers on this
Mhm.
last drive that gets no yards. That's a spot where I'd like to see Sony Michelle get a carry. I
Yep.
know they went away from Michelle, but that's where I'd like to see him there. 4th-and-1, Cooper Kupp gonna get to you every time. His one rush for 7 yards is on a 4th-and-1. It matters the most.
Yep.
We have a big play. Guess who? Cooper Kupp gets to the Cincinnati 24 for 22
For
yards, and then it's Kupp and Akers all day
yep.
basically. Kupp gets another 8 yards, Akers gets another 8 yards, and then you're in the red zone. You're throwing those touchdowns. It's Kupp every time.
Yep.
Target, target,
For as
target, target.
bad as Akers was, that last run he had on the drive where it looked like he got stopped like 3 yards before the first down and he eked out like 4 more past it. I was like, wow. Like for as
Yeah.
bad as their run game has been, that was arguably one of the biggest plays of the game. Just
Mm-hmm.
because it got them into it gave them goal to go essentially.
Yep.
And that's how she wrote it. After goal to go, it was basically just the Rams being a hammer and the Bengals being a nail
Yeah.
because every play was just hyper intense and the Bengals and the Rams were playing very physical brands of football. I felt the Bengals were getting away with a lot of hand stuff in the secondary. There's a lot of holding, there was a lot of hand checking. I felt every Van Jefferson target, somebody had a hold of his arm, especially in those
Well, that's
contested
and
ones.
that's what we were talking about, right? It was a let him play type of game. And
Exactly.
towards the end there, it stopped being that because, Cooper Kupp was getting held a lot. There was the holding on Cooper Kupp, and there was pass interference on Cooper Kupp, and eventually they get the fade, back shoulder, right on Cooper Kupp over Eli Apple, touchdown, 23-20.
You run that final play 100 times. I think Cooper Kupp comes down with that touchdown 98 times. And
Yeah.
I think the
It
other
was a
two are
great
just
throw.
overthrows by Matthew Stafford
Yeah.
because I for the life of me, I emphasize this as much as I could going into the game. I don't expect anyone in that secondary to cover Cooper Kupp. And
No.
if they throw Eli Apple on him, it's not going to be good for the Bengals.
Yep.
And it sucks it came down to that for the Bengals fans, but you know who you've had all year. This is a
Yeah.
defensive unit that while they are not great, well, on
They've
paper,
overachieved. They've
they
overachieved.
played their hearts out for the last
Yeah.
5-6 weeks. They were arguably the hottest defense in all of football. The things that Jesse Bates, I forget what the Logan Wilson, the linebacker, Trey
Luke,
Hendrickson, DJ Reader, Luke Wilson, that
DJ
defense,
Reader, yeah. DJ
yeah,
Reader had
they
a really
were
good game.
huge. That without the Bengals defense, they do not make it this far. Without the Bengals defense, they're not
Right.
playing in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
I do not have much faith in Zach Taylor. I hope that they look for a new coordinator in the offseason. The way that they called this game in that fourth quarter, I believe cost them the game to a certain extent. To be fair, that Rams defense put on a show for the
Well,
ages.
let's get to the last play before
Yep.
we get on out of here. That probably has the biggest controversy. 3rd-and-1, you run the ball with Samaje Perine.
Where's Joe Mixon? I know he's your third down back, but
I
like you
I
got to
I
have your guys out there.
completely understand that Perine is probably the better receiving back by a little bit. He's your third down back. But if you know you're going to run the ball, it's got to be Joe Mixon every time. It
He was
I think that's
torching the Rams.
I think that's going to be the biggest thing out of this game. Bengals fans have nothing to be ashamed of. The Bengals played a great game.
Yep.
All in all, they kind of weren't supposed to be there almost.
Yep.
Joe Burrow played a hell of a postseason. Their defense played their hearts out. But running the ball with Samaje Perine is going to be the thing for the offseason is why. Mixon's been your dude all year. He was the second leading rusher in all of football. He had a decent game. He was, 15 for 72, averaging almost 5 yards a carry. He needed a yard.
Yeah. The fact that Mixon wasn't in there is huge. And Zach Taylor's going to have to answer for that all offseason. And I
Yeah.
think I'm not saying fire the offensive coordinator, but I just don't know how you don't game plan and scheme in the biggest moment of your season to have your best guy out there. Because for lack of better terms, Joe Mixon was the best player for the Bengals today. Aside from T. Higgins, because T. Higgins had better production, Joe Mixon
Yeah.
was the most efficient player the Bengals had out there. And
Yep.
I had conversations through different channels, and people. I had a person tell me that Joe Mixon was going to be the X factor for this game, and he arguably was.
He-
Genuinely, what Joe
If
Mixon
he gets the
provided the
ball there,
Bengals.
he probably massively is.
Yeah, what Joe Mixon provided the Bengals in this game kept them in the game, point blank and period.
Mm.
He kept drives alive. He drained the clock, and it just came down to. I'm not saying the Bengals defense even broke, but they really got into a lot of these close games, and their defense was able to win out due to the other team's
Yep.
mistakes. And the Rams didn't make those mistakes, because we can say Matthew Stafford tried to throw the game away with interceptions. That's just not the tale of this tape. Whenever I look
Yeah.
at this box score, the 2 interceptions to me are inconsequential.
It led to 3 points.
Essentially, because the first interception was the least high stakes interception I've seen in a Super Bowl ever. Essentially, it was a punt. It
Arm
was
punt. Yeah.
It was
It
the
was like
best
3rd and
interception he
13.
could throw. Exactly. 3rd
Yeah.
and 13, out of bounds. They're going to punt it anyways. It'll be a touchback.
Mhm.
Just total wash. Looks bad for Stafford. It's honestly the best play they could have hoped for in
Yeah.
that circumstance. And the other one, it's just Skowronek not being able to make a grab. And that one hurt because they ended up resulting in 3 points. But
Yeah, I mean, if you look a lot here, you look at 3rd down efficiency, the Bengals 3 for 14, not very good, but the Rams 6 for 15, not very good. Total plays 66 to 61. Punts 6 and 6, penalties 2 for 10, 4 for 31, no fumbles, 2 interceptions by the Rams.
Yep.
You had the Rams win by a minute and a half of possession, and 40 seconds of that is the last kneel of the game. The biggest thing here is 7 sacks on Burrow. Yeah, they had 9 against the Titans, and they were able to squeak it out with Tannehill kind of falling apart there. But you can't allow 7 sacks against the Rams. And Aaron Donald was that dude in the second half. He stopped the run well. He got a couple of sacks, and he showed up to Joe Burrow's house uninvited on the last play of the game that mattered the most.
FBI open up, man. That's the thing here. My initial predictions, you and I had conversations about it. We said we expect the Rams to win, but we will not be surprised if the Bengals pull it off.
Yeah,
And that
they're
reality was
yeah.
predicated off the fact that the Rams have to turn the ball over, and Cincy has to play a perfect game.
Yep.
And Cincy, for all of their efforts, played the best game they could have, because we expected the Rams to get to Joe Burrow, and they did. And
a lot.
yeah,
7 sacks is a lot. And where his leg got beat up.
Yeah, for not having a horse in the race, I feel very happy for Rams fans and for the Rams as an organization, as a team, because they were the better team throughout the entire year. They had the better coaching, arguably the better players, and it's just a lot of years in the Super Bowl. You can see teams that aren't the better team pull it out, and that's the game of football. You play one game, one Sunday, crazy things can happen. And in a year where a lot of crazy shit went down, I'm happy we went back to normalcy to a certain degree.
I'm glad we didn't make overtime because I didn't want to discuss the rule again.
Dude, if Joe Burrow won because Matthew Stafford called heads, and then fucking Matthew Stafford didn't get an interception at strong safety, like I couldn't deal with it.
All right, Devin. Cooper Kupp wins MVP.
As he should. He should have won the regular season MVP for all we care. That was the best. He's the best player in the NFL for this season. He did
8
more
for 92 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
and a big 4th down run that basically, that drive sealed the game.
Sean McVay owes Cooper Kupp a car, a house, a new contract, and McVay better name his firstborn Cooper at this point, because Cooper Kupp. If we're gonna scale, because in the NBA people like to weigh, there's a weighted amount to your championship ring. People would say KD's Warriors championships way less than Michael's Bulls championships. Cooper Kupp's championship ring probably weighs 15 pounds with how much he
just hanging down here
to this Rams
drag
team.
It.
Then Aaron Donald weighs 15 pounds, but it's just Aaron Donald, so he just holds it up like Mjolnir with no effort.
Yeah.
But
do you think AD retires? Rodney Harrison said it earlier.
I think Aaron Donald could do whatever the hell he wants moving forward. He has done everything in the game of football. If he wants to walk away, good luck. Los Angeles, that would really hurt you guys. Because
Yeah,
if Aaron Donald stays, you guys maybe have a shot to repeat. If Aaron Donald walks, you guys may not have a shot to win your division. He is
yeah,
that
it's scary
big
to
of a
think
player
about.
because
Yeah,
Whitworth is going to retire. He's 40-something years old.
he's done.
He's going out on top. He's
Congratulations to
retiring.
Whitworth, but that's it.
Kudos to Andrew Whitworth. Hell of a career. You're not getting back Von Miller. OBJ might come back due to the knee injury. I don't know who's going to give OBJ money after a second tear on the same knee. That
By the
complicates
way,
things.
Von Miller 2 sacks, Aaron Donald 2 sacks. That's big. That Von Miller worked out really well.
If Donald walks away, it's going to be a huge void. And I don't
Yeah,
know, because
Miller's gone, then AD would
that's
be gone.
that's the biggest thing about this game. Zach Taylor's job is so safe. Like, even an umpire couldn't call him out. That's how safe his job is. He got the Bengals to a Super Bowl. That guarantees him 5 more years, in my eyes.
Well, yeah,
The
did
Kyle
you see
Shanahan
his
Super Bowl.
his regular season record? He's 16-32 and won.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love the underlying pattern with, or the underlying statistic of Stafford being 0-3 going into this playoff run. He's now 4-3 for his career. He's a winning
There you
playoff
go.
quarterback.
Just like that.
But if McVay loses this game, I think his head ends up being on the chopping block by year 3 of the Stafford thing. Because if they don't
Yeah.
win it this year, I don't think they're going to win it next year, and it would be very hard for them to win it in year 3. This was the
Uh-huh.
window, and they got it. So now hopefully they can retain a lot of the talent from this team, like the Bucks did, and move forward and try and repeat. Because this is a very, very, very small window, and they cashed in, and I'm just happy for them. I'm happy for my father. He's a huge Rams fan. So congratulations to my dad. First time
Hey,
that he's
you're a
seen
longtime
his
Rams
team.
fan. You haven't seen anything since the best show on turf.
And I was like in diapers back then. So kudos to him. This is the first time I've actually been able to like kind of be there for him as his team has seen it through.
Alrighty, dude. That's gonna be it for us. A little short episode where you wanted to get this out. Like we said, want to spend Valentine's Day with our significant others tomorrow.
Yes.
You should as well. We do have work. Well, Devin doesn't have work tomorrow, but I have
I'm
work
off
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
So I gotta
But
go.
no,
I
yeah.
gotta go to bed at some point. So that's the Super Bowl. Congratulations to the Los Angeles Rams for pulling it out. Halftime
Congrats
show
to
was
the
great.
Bengals.
Congrats to the Bengals, AFC
Hell of a
champions. Nothing to
season.
be, nothing to be ashamed about. Come back next season, do it again. Like get back in it. You're going to be in another bloodbath of a division, but you got to get through it.
If the AFC North got medical insurance this offseason, it's going to be a hell of a season for the Bengals next year. But kudos to Zach Taylor. Kudos to Joe Burrow. They played a hell of a season. That entire team should not be ashamed. City of Cincinnati, do not burn. You guys gave it your absolute all.
Yeah, there's no controversy in this. There's nothing to be ashamed about. Yes, the hype train was real, but the better team did win. It's as simple as that. But It was still a very good Super Bowl to watch, especially if you didn't have stakes in it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be back on the 21st, Monday, normal time, 4 p.m. Pacific time. We'll have a lot to talk about when we know James Harden is a Philadelphia Philly 76er, whatever the hell it is.
I'm ramped up. Give me like 2 hours. I'll drop all my knowledge on the trade deadline stuff. I'm ready for the NBA to ramp up because baseball's not back, guys. Rob Manfred has him in a chokehold. By opening day, we're going to be rooting for Bucky McBadbat and the kid from
Hey, man,
Little Big League. Yeah.
It's just funny to me how it's always, universal DH? Yeah, sure, no problem. Runner on second base, get it out of here. 3 better minimum? Yeah. Money? Stop.
Hey, whoa! You want
Pay the players more?
me to pay the minor league players?
Dude,
it's an unpaid internship, dude. Like, what are we talking about?
You want to chase your dream? Good luck, nerd. Okay.
Don't quit your day job.
Before I keep rambling, use code TMSM at manscaped.com. 20% off, free shipping. We're going to get on out of here. Devin's going to go. There we go. Yeah.
Okay. We're going to catch you guys next week. Pleasure as always, Austin. I'll give you guys the one word you're waiting for.